I'll say good morning, but it's afternoon. So I'm going to say good afternoon, everybody. And again, you're getting me behind a little bit. So tomorrow I'm going to come in and probably do a couple hours to catch up again. I thought I was caught up. But I tell you what I thought I would do. I thought I would do, and again, I appreciate your lovely comments. You don't have, it's from our hearts, and I can't even tell you enough. You know, it's a good feeling. I'm getting a lot of you guys coming in here, and it makes my job easier, and it empowers you. And I'm seeing the results of people, and I couldn't be more happier, and I hope you guys the same way. Um, let's do spirituality, the next one right now, and we'll. I'll cut off and then we'll do question and answers because I've got a lot of questions here that I've got to catch up with here. But I was talking to Chris, and this will be a good archive of videos for you. And for those people that come on board later, you guys are a good core group here. And I'm telling you, some of the responses that I'm seeing here, you guys are getting it. And I'm just great. So I'll address that in question and answers. I thought I would do a small, short video on spirituality, but on the side of self and the social consciousness, and the difference between that which is and that which is created. The difference between you and your creation, like the difference between God and its creation. And I'm going to address it with this letter. It was quite lengthy, and I believe this was Monica, and she's a 37-year-old woman. Now, I think most of you are starting to have this experience or have had it, and I can tell by your comments and things that, when you come into a planet like this, the prevailing winds, of course, of the social consciousness. Groups, more power in groups, more security in groups. You begin to lose the self. Remember I told you about that little girl that she was only about 5 years old, and her mother had just given birth again. And the baby was in the nursery, and the little girl wanted to speak to the baby by herself and ask her mother, could I speak to the baby by myself? And her mother said, well, sure, honey. And she opened up the door and let her little girl into the nursery, and the little girl walked up to the baby, and the mother was listening to see what she was saying to the baby. And she said, baby, could you tell me about God again? I'm about to forget. Now, that's an incredible experience. And that's somehow how it is. Creation starts you externalizing yourself. It's, look at this pretty little thing over here, and oh, look over here. And pretty soon your attention is pulled from who you are into a world of drama, where you then become the creator, but you're not really educated to that part. Most religions and educational systems pretty much follow that social consciousness and tie you into that. You either belong or you're damned, or they're bad over there and we're good over here. The old American, we're the best of the best, and all that kind of crap. That kind of deception and that kind of separation from the oneness of us all. And it just breeds hostility and ego and everything else, but that's creation. Creates good drama, I guess, if you like drama in that way, but obviously the Supreme Being likes drama at every level. But this letter was in regard to her, I think, boyfriend. I thought it might be husband. It was a boyfriend. He's a big meat eater. He's kind of likes to keep fit and everything. Doesn't have a lot of health problems. She says he stinks, which, most people that eat meat stink. Under the arms, these are the lymph nodes. These are proteins that everybody thinks they need to have. Let's see, his problems aren't great, I don't think. Let's see. I didn't mark anything down here that I could say was significant in terms of his health issues. Her issue is that she has stopped eating meat, not because of the health of it, because she sees it as the mama bear that had the gallbladder being drained constantly. I've never heard of anything like that. I just can't imagine what that was. But any slaughter of animals, and this slaughter of plants, we do the same thing with plants. We slaughter things. That's why the fruitarian regimen is the most humane. It's the gifts of the plants. Irregardless, we can always argue those sort of things, and you can also argue that all life consumes each other. Down here, one thing eats another. This is a very hostile level of creation, if you hadn't noticed. Look in nature and see the hostility of death. And the other side of it is the beauty of life. So you have the dichotomy or duality that always exists in creation. You can't have the positive without the negative when you're in creation. That's just impossible. The closer to the supreme being that you get in terms of these higher heavens, obviously the consciousness or the energetics are more positive than they are negative. But that leads this world to deal with the other side more. It's just has to be that way in physics, in the way creation needs to run. So she is upset and confused because she wants someone that thinks and opens up spiritually and eats like she does, so she can have more of a communication and a companion. And so I thought I would address that in terms of spirituality, at least my perception of that. Because I've said this before, you're born alone, you live alone, and you die alone. In terms of you as soul coming in and experiencing this level or any level. All that which exists is alone in itself. How it interacts with the social network, meaning other beings or other individuals of the same species, creates the social inner network. In the female consciousness, and even in the male consciousness, the need to feel whole is seen when you're on the outer bands where you're either male or very feminine. When you're more spiritualized, so to speak, or you're more awakened and more aware of yourself, there is the true self, the soul, is not gendered. There is no gender in who you are. There's no gender in God. That would be to limit God. And there's no limitations in the Supreme Being. You have to look at God as an unlimited, however you see it. We're taught in Christianity the little old white man sitting on the throne with a white beard. I mean, that's obvious, some of the connotations. But in reality, something that is omnipresent does not have form. And it's hard for those that are glued into form in creation to understand the formless. What is the formless? What do you mean? And that's where the word consciousness, or another word that we use now in quantum physics, intelligence, exists. It is an unseen energy. Spirit is unseen, but felt. And so this is important to begin to understand that when you're talking and referencing you or the Supreme Being, you're referencing a more omnipresent what? A more omnipresent energy, more omnipresent consciousness, intelligence. Who are you really? When you're aware and perceiving something, who is that which is perceiving? What is that? Is there a body there or not? So when we're getting into the Supreme Being and we're looking at some being that is limitless, that is the infinite, you can't put any words to confine the Supreme Being to form. Therefore, you must understand that in yourself as well. So when we take on forms, we are involved in duality, and we either take on a male or female form, or depending what species or whatever, it depends on that. Some species are both male and female in one form. So in the Homo sapiens species, which is where basically who I'm talking to now, we either take a body of a male or a body of a female, but we can be very feminine in a male body and feel female because we identify with that side of the force. And the same thing with women. Women can feel very male, very tomboyish and very male. However, you're neither one of them. You're only using these bodies and these steroids and hormones and all these factors that influence these bodies. You're only using them to experience life. So when it comes to relationships, in physics, opposites attract. And that's kind of how creation is. You generally end up being with someone that is of opposite to you, because that makes you whole, even though you don't understand that. That's up to a certain point. At a certain point when you awaken and your energies become balanced, and you're neither male nor female, yet you're both, then you're more whole. The difficulty is when you get to these levels of spirituality, we still hang on to those needs to have a connection, an individual, someone to feel the aloneness. Because truly, and remember I talk about getting time alone, so you will accept the fact that you are alone and see in that aloneness who you are, because it is in that alone state that you'll find reality. But outside of that, we use the word codependency, and that can be used at any level. Some people are extremely codependent, and others feel like they need to have another for succor enjoyment. I will say this, that once you pass that aloneness, it is a joy to have someone in your life as a non-codependent factor. And as you go spiritually, it is totally nice to have someone that thinks and eats and operates similar to you. There's no question about it. I used to think that didn't matter, and I learned differently. And so I'm kind of a victim in my diet and things of that sort of thing where opposites attract. And so the problem is when you get emotional attachments and you start letting those lower bodies, intertwine, that then it's difficult to step away from things like that. So Monica, I say to you that you must become whole in yourself. You cannot change another person, nor do you want to. You don't want to enter into that karma or that you reap what you sow syndrome where you're affecting another soul's journey. That soul's on its own journey. If that journey and yours lose compatibility, there is nothing wrong with going in your own ways. Life isn't meant to be stagnant. Life is meant to blossom and grow. Everything is kinetic. There's nothing static in nature. So there's nothing wrong with saying, I enjoyed your presence, but I must go my own way and grow. I've seen this for 40 years of spirituality, of this thing happening where one individual grows at a rate much greater than the mate. And you see this a lot. And I read some comments where one beautiful soul here, she's looking for someone that she would like to have a connection with like that. And I can tell you that these type of connections are great to have. They're incredible to have. And there are some of these that the experiences are so high that just being in the presence of each other brings ecstasy and joy. Those are the cool relationships. There's no need There's just love and compatibility and joy that you found another individual at the level you see. That's not easy, not in a world like this. And so it is much difficult to deal with that. You'll have to deal with that in your own relationship. But I will say this, don't try to change him. Change yourself. Work on yourself to be healthier and stronger and open up. If that soul chooses to follow and open up, then it will. Sometimes when you push on a door and it doesn't want to open, don't make it open. I've learned this so much through the years, is that if I start to open a door and it doesn't want to open, I let go and go down another door. Because I pushed so hard and made the doors open that I realized, oh, God had that door closed for a reason, and now I super regret opening it. You know, and it was like, okay, these are your spiritual lessons as you go along here. You don't have to push anything. Just be. Always be in the presence. Always be in the now. And then you are hooked to the highest consciousness you can. And you just keep surrendering, or like the Way of Truth, or the Sufis use the word God absorption. I just love that analogy, because basically living in the now is God absorption. And it really spells out what you have to do to have that experience. When you're in creation, it's nice to have a partner, but you have to always retain your individuality. You must always retain your sense of self and that awareness of the now. If you lose that, then you're lost again. And then you lose your spirituality, and oftentimes you'll lose your health, because you'll start eating to make everything, compatible. And I'm a victim of that. So I can just say that in an early on relationship, definitely if you need to go, then, and that's what happened in my second marriage. My wife at the time and I said, we're just not growing together. We love each other, but we're not growing together. And so we just hugged and mutually went our own ways. And that's how it should be done. You can't force another individual to grow to your level or vice versa. And so you wouldn't want it imposed on you. If your boyfriend wants to eat meat and go down that road, go ahead. Who cares? Same with you. You must grow spiritually as you will. There was something else that someone asked me, and I was going to bring this up on this spiritual side here. And, it was something else, but someone asked me, how did God know? This is cool. It said, I have one question. How did God get fruits to taste so good? It put its essence in it. When you're eating a fruit, you're eating God. It put its essence in it. Good question. Someone also asked me about prayer, and this is a good time to enter at that, about praying, and if you should pray, but if you pray, are you that old song, shall I petition the Lord with prayer? And I think the problem is that most individuals don't recognize who they are, and so they seem like they have to separate. When you're down in these worlds, and I just use that analogy down, but when we're into these very coarse worlds, it seems like there's separations. There's the Einstein distance between 2 points and stuff. In reality, there's nothing but the present moment, and everything is all in the now. Hard to conceive unless you expand yourself to those levels. But the mind can't comprehend the infinite, because it's a finite instrument. It's a finite body or tool that you use at mental and emotional and physical levels. But for me, I like to live in God all the time. I like to be God absorbed every moment. Even when I'm talking to you, I bask in the allness, because if I don't, I lose. If I take myself out of the now and pull myself into creation, and I get emotional about something or mental about something. That's what I mean about pulling yourself into creation. When you use your mind and your emotions, you have to learn to use them from a distance, not be into them, because you'll get lost like watching a really good movie, and you forget that you're the observer only of the movie. You're not the movie. And that's what's happened here. We forget we're not this drama, but we think we are. We get lost in it. And so I think prayer, meditation, I like the word contemplation. I really think that it's a process of observation and listening. I think this idea of asking for something is ridiculous. I've caught myself through the years doing that a lot, you know. But in reality, I realized, who am I really talking to? Yourself, you know. And it's like you're the one that either blocks or opens up and allows to manifest that which you wish. And people don't realize how much power they have to do that. But look at your lives, each one of your lives now. You've created everything that's in them. Everything that you have right now, you've created. And you can create whatever you want. That's the idea of creation. You got the ability to think, to plan, to expand, to image anything that's out there, and then make it happen emotionally. You can do that. The question is, at a certain point, and you've done that for lifetimes after lifetimes, soul wants to go home. And basically, soul wants to waken up and stop playing the game. And some spiritual giants call it rest points in eternity. I don't know. It's enough to say that there's times where it's good to be outside of creation and get away from the tremendous drama involved in it, the tremendous energetic drain of creation, if you will. But always live in the present moment and become the observer. Observation, where you're observing life going on in its processes and you're not involved mentally and emotionally, is true prayer, is true meditation, is true contemplation. That is where you then become the infinite. When you're trying to move from one point to another, it's fun to out-of-body travel. It's fun to visit all these spiritual cities. But at the same time, after a while, if you're the seeker of truth, you realize that who's the traveler here? It's all about the traveler, which is you. You know, Phoebe Quantz, I had a cat named Phoebe once, but Phoebe Quantz, tremendous master, always has lectures going on in this one spiritual city. And you can go to this temple. It's on the causal world. At least I think it is, because every time I visit it, I don't know what world I'm in. But I remember one day he came in and sat down, and there was a bunch of us individuals in this classroom in this spiritual temple, beautiful temple of light. And he just sat there, and sat there. And we all sat there, and sat there. And just waiting for something to come out of his mouth, and he just sat there and then got up and walked off. And it was like, oh, you know, sometimes in the silence, sometimes in the quietness of the now, all can be understood. So that is my message for this tape on spirituality, and you all have fun and connect to yourselves. Spend time alone. Go deep within yourself. Find where you can be totally alone. Get away from the outer works and spend time within. And it's a incredible journey there. And Monica, don't try to make him become your slave in a way. You free yourself and you keep going. You're a good gal. And you be all you can be. And then if your relationships, if you want to stay and deal with that, you'll have to accept the fact that he cannot change, that he'll change as he needs to change, and you're the one that needs to take care of yourself and be strong within yourself, because as I read, you're a beautiful soul. So stay strong within yourself, and don't need anybody to change, because you only have yourself. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Well, I think that we can keep recording. So what I'm going to do, I've got 20 minutes, and hello again. Chris is going to separate that spirituality with the question and answers. So I'm going to go down that line here as much as I can. I got a lot of them here to catch up with, but that's cool. I'm not complaining. I love them. It helps me to create a good archive, and it helps me to cover a lot of subjects that I keep seeing new subjects that I think is important that you bring up. But I also see the fact that you guys are really getting it. I just love this. The gentleman that sent me the eyes, that wants me to read the eyes, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It'll be impossible for me to read everybody's eyes. So what I'm going to do is just go over what I see. This is this gentleman's eyes. I don't know if you can see that good. I don't know if I need to be closer to you or further away. I don't have anybody here to help me. But I'll show you what you can see in just looking at eyes. I was talking to an individual yesterday, and really, iridology is such an incredible help to a practitioner in terms of being able to connect more to what we're talking about. Without iridology, I think I would not have developed the awareness that I have about health and the kidneys and all this. If it hadn't been able to observe thousands and thousands and thousands of eyes, and Dr. Jensen, of course, tens of thousands of eyes. So it's just a great science. It's simple. I will get into this with you. We're going to offer up some type of deal for you if you want to have an ophthalmologist or someone take a picture of your eyes. This is Tim, your composer, Tim Beek. That's your sidebar. I'll read them, but I'm going to have to charge something to go over the eyes. It is a bit of work, and I'm only one guy. So, but they're great to have. So this is your right eye and left eye. I'm going to go over this. So Tim, here we go. This is what I see in your eye. I see a right kidney weakness big time. You want to take care of this right kidney. The adrenal gland on top is more subacute to chronic. With that, you pick up your lower back here. Here's at least L4, L5, a little bit higher as well. A lot of congestion up in the throat and neck area with minor throat and upper C-spine weakness. Here's a big, what I would call, maybe tonsil, but real close to the parathyroid gland. Remember, the parathyroid is calcium utilization. You definitely have interstitial lymphatic constipation in your GI tract wall. That's the ring around the gut there. These are not real clear colors, but it looks like you have orange or yellow in the middle here around your pupil. That could be sulfur. The coloration is not good enough for me to tell. These are not real clear colors, but it looks like you have orange or yellow in the middle here around your pupil. That could be sulfur. The coloration is not good enough for me to tell, but the way it looks is you've got a lot of sulfur in you. It means you got a lot of candida problems. You're having lymphatic stagnation problems. I get up to your upper femur, your right femur. You got a weakness I can't see, but it looks like a right knee as well. I'm looking at the hip, the right hip. You're going to feel that, but your family's got the kidneys, the lower back, the hips, the knees. You can tell that you're losing those. They've been losing those tissues, and if this is a parathyroid gland, it shows the inability to repair that. Now, there's a tad bit of pancreatic weakness and also gallbladder here going on. So you might want to get into those tissues and clean up the gallbladder and liver. Definitely the lymph is stagnant in the gallbladder and liver and pancreatic tissue. Your lower rib here got a weakness here. I'm up here, I'm either up here in this upper lobe, up here in this lung here. You got some weaknesses. It might even take up this right shoulder. With that said, when I get up into the cerebellum here, you've got some weaknesses, could yield you some equilibrium problems and dizzy, vertigo problems. Also, I see a little pineal gland, which could give you insomnia and stuff, but you really got to clean your lymph system out. Your skin is weak. You really got to clean your lymph system out. Your back is definitely giving you some problems right now. On the left side of your body here, a better kidney for sure. Upper femur again, a lot of inflammation in the knee and below. Groin on this side, got a lot of lymph stagnation in this groin area here. The left hip is an issue and the left testicle is an issue. Also, if I go up to your spleen, I find a little genetics in the spleen area. Lower lobe of this lung, got a spot in it here. You want to get in the lungs and clean them up. Maybe even a little tad in this upper lobe. Get those bronchial trunks cleaned out. With that said, I'm picking up a right shoulder, a lot of congestion in this ear here. Pituitary, a little bit of pituitary going on there. Swing around, tonsils, not real happy if you still got them. A little bit of thyroid on this side, better parathyroid. Throat, you're going to have a sore throat during a detoxification. Your hips are going to hurt and your knees are going to hurt. I can pre-warn you with that. You got upper either T or C spine weakness on the left side here. As I get in, you got a little rectal wall, a little prostate, and a little bladder going on here. So it sounds like a lot, but all in all, you know, you're pretty good here. Tell you the truth, you really need to move your lymph real bad. You're malabsorbed. You got to get your lymph clean, your bowels cleaned up. You get your kidneys online better. Start working on your skeletal system, but you got to move your lymph better. I'd clean out my lungs as well. I can tell you that would be a good idea. Use the lung formula. At one time, use the pancreatic capsules and liver capsules. You can alternate between the two. Pick up, you know, just strengthen that gallbladder and the pancreas. But move your lymph, more important than anything. Right kidney, you might even feel this right kidney when you're detoxifying. I have no doubt that you're going to feel your back there. So that's what you can see in an eye. Those things is what you can see in an eye. And you couldn't have an MRI or CAT scan and see those things. So, but I'll set up something here if you want to send in your eye pictures like Tim did, and we'll set up, and I'll do a quickie for so much, and it'll make me a little bit of money to sit down and do these. But I don't have a lot of time in my life as it is. But having your eyes read is really an incredible thing. I'm going to teach you how to read them. Okay, so I don't know when I'm going to get to that, but I will. I promise I'll get to that. I'm definitely going to have a day of it in my class. And I make it real simple. I'm one of those guys that cuts to the chase. I'll show you how to trim off the fat. Here's how you see them, and I'll show you things they don't know yet in iridology here. All right, Tim, go for it, man. Now, this is 78. This is mother is 78. She has bad knees and ankles. Now, how would you get bad knees and ankles? What's going on? You guys are right. It's your kidneys. And what's on top of the kidneys? The adrenal glands. So she's in 78, of course, a typical person, not going to have good kidneys, and so bye-bye knees and ankles. But I'm telling you, the hips are going too. You know, when I worked in the ER, we used to have a lot of fractures down here since it's the senior citizen state. I used to ask these little old ladies that come in with broken hips, supposedly fell in the bathroom. I say, "Did you hear a crack before you fell, honey?" you know, these people just have so much calcium sucked out of them because they're just one big acid. No one helps them to understand that you can't eat this way anymore. You can't. And where man is in his cellular morphology or his cellular weaknesses, we cannot follow the same diet anymore. We cannot do that. We cannot follow these protein diets. Just can't do it anymore. We're already ravaged of calcium as it is. And to go on a protein diet ravages the body of more calcium. Just can't do it. Contraindicative. Cartilage is gone, bone on bone. Ew. She's had one knee replacement, and her one foot is completely pronated with osteoarthritis. Well, I mean, she's pulling out calcium. Remember, when you're acidic, your body has to fight these acids. So remember, acids win, you lose. And so what's happening is her body's pulling this calcium out of the joints. She's losing her joints, and she's getting bone spurs all over the place. I mean, that's and then of course a lot of pain because that's acidosis in those tissues, and that's how we all go. She refuses to change her diet and relies on aspirin for pain. I've heard you can say with people at that age it's hard to get them da-da-da-da-da. Yes, yes, yes. Can you please suggest any herbal tonics that may help ease some of her pain? Well, again, if she's willing to take something, these tinctures are pretty darn strong, and so sometimes I go, ugh. But inflammation, joints, if you're going to give her some tinctures, you're going to go kidneys, lymphatics, inflammation, joints. You could do the pain, but really she could get so bad that you need to give her aspirin because you're already on it. But really you want to get her on at least the lymphatic formulas, lymphatic 4, a couple kidney formulas, obviously at her age, hit her adrenal glands at this age, at least those. Probably want to give her some upper circuit, brain and nerve to keep her from ending up, with more problems. And this is a beautiful princess. I'll use that word there. I love you too, sweetheart. To the Sea Princess. Sometimes I can't read these things. I apologize here. I've got bad lighting and I've been reading all day. She says taking the heal all caps. Okay, now this was important. This is why I stuck this up here. She started taking the heal all caps about a week ago. Today I woke up with swollen lymph nodes on my neck and ears, also some pimples behind ear where lymph nodes are located. Face has some breakouts too, but the skin is super soft now. My tongue is coated and I have chills today. Frequent elimination. Have been pushing fluids and have been to the bathroom frequently today. This healing crisis crept, you're right, honey, it's a healing crisis, crept up me. Should I do anything? I'm hoping this doesn't keep up long. I know, I hate healing crises, don't you? I do. I feel for you, sweetheart. Also, bad underarm smell, lymph nodes again. You guys are right on. Was eating all raw fruits and veggies for quite some time and did not experience any symptoms such as this. I started the Heal All caps. I love that tea. Don't you love those Heal All tea? Strong, aren't they? I love herbs. I just love them. And you're seeing the power, the difference between the foods and the herbs. You add the herbs with the raw, wham! I love that. So, I know you probably don't like that, but it also is saying, because there's not a lot of lymph power in that formula, at least not much, but obviously enough. So, it is suggestive, though, that your kidneys are at a big issue here. That you're not filtering that lymph, and you're seeing your lymph nodes swell. And so, I'd really focus on those kidneys and adrenal glands, sweetheart. You're of the age that you're going to be beat up with them genetically a little bit, so really focus on your kidneys and adrenals. Move that lymph a little bit. If you move lymph too aggressively, remember the lymph nodes can swell, so I want you all to keep that in mind, that if you're working with someone and their lymph nodes start swelling a little bit, back down on the lymphatic formulas. And the same thing with tumors. It's not a sin for a tumor to grow. But if you're working with someone, it could be indicative, that their kidneys are not filtering. And also indicative of the fact that the person has not got to those areas where you can move that lymph out. If you can't get the lymph draining and moving to an area that's in trouble, that area will continue to be in trouble. There's just nothing, you have to get to that area. You have to get to the place you're going. I also wanted to mention I got my tonsils out, when I was about 22 years old and they removed her tonsils. What a wacko. And I am now 25. Yeah, sorry, sweetheart. It happened during the military. Oh, I love the military. I never did do well in the military. I don't like someone in my face. No offense, but you know what? I mean, we need to have peace, not war. But I am kind of a hippie guy, aren't I? Yeah, well, I'll show you a picture of me back in the 70s, but I had a big beard, my hair was down here, but I was a fruitarian living in the woods. I think this might be, no, this is from someone else. And they started the Heal All tea for 5 days, and the fourth day, and today I'm having flu-like symptoms. I love that tea. I just love that tea. You know, I must have been a traveling snake oil salesman or something, but I tell you what, when you get a good formula like that, I just love that formula. I love my formulas. And I mean, try the difference. Try other people's formulas and play around with them. You know, you'll see the power there. But I think you're making it too strong. You're mixing 1 teaspoon for 2 cups of boiled water. My friend, I would probably go down to 1 teaspoon for 4 cups of water, maybe. Maybe you thin it up a little bit gently at this level's for douching and colorectal cancer and mouth cancers and abscesses, real strong. You know, because you're converting cells fast. Butt's kicking your butt, and but that's a good thing. Break it down a little bit and make it more gentle. You're now in a pretty good healing, starting a good healing crisis. So kick up the fruit. You can slow this down if you want. Thin it out a little bit. And when will they stop? Well, I tell you, when you're in a healing crisis, you got cold and flus, and you're really running your nose, go as much as you can, because when it clears, your sense of smell and taste and awareness really goes way up. You don't want to just go and get a little bit out and okay, because you'll revisit it again. So really go and just realize that when you're going through it, boy, that's good to get that stuff out. Oh, yeah, that was good. You know, look at it, the positive side, and work through these. You guys want to detox. That's what it's about. Can't say I haven't been through a lot of those. Huh. Dr. Morse takes on this freaky disease called, I've already covered that. Morgellons. It is freaky. But she was pulling these blue hairs out, and there's always that little parasite attached. Oh, I had vials of stuff in here from this one lady I was telling you about on another video. Menopause symptoms. Okay, this is a good one. Oxygen pump. That's cute. Is that your little doggy? I've got a shih tzu. I love these little doggies. They're cute. Menopause symptoms. Please could you help me advise for women going through menopause? I would definitely work with the endocrine glands here. Female reproductive formula is good for menopause. Always find hypothyroid cases, so you want to work on the thyroid. Definitely work on the parathyroid. Make sure they're utilizing calcium so they don't get so much cramping. So work in the thyroid, parathyroid. Pituitary head honcho, that's the gland responsible for shutting and turning on the female organs. So, you know, work on the endocrine glands. The female reproductive formula is good for that. Pop up the thyroid there. Check your basal temperatures under your arm. See how cold you are. And then keep working on your lymph system. You know, always work on that behind all these things. But on top of that, the female reproductive, pop up your thyroid, parathyroid with a glandular if you want. But on top of that, the female reproductive, pop up your thyroid, parathyroid with a glandular if you want. And pituitary would not be, that would be a wise thing as well. And have fun, honey. Now this one is Sharon, and she's from Trinidad. I have a good friend from Trinidad, and I really wanted to move to Trinidad. It's out of the hurricane zone, and it's down there close to the fun cities. I would love someplace like that. I hear Trinidad is gorgeous, so I don't know. Call me whatever, but I think that would be good. The next course I plan on doing it is which advice? Yeah, Natural Healing College. Anything you get, it is advisable. I tell you what, you're going to learn how to cure everything right here. I'm going to help you all learn how to cure everything. And I'll use that. Keep out of this consciousness of diseases and let the medical doctors go play in the fields of dreams. You're going to be true healers, and you're going to cure everything. So whatever degree you have to make you look good on top of that, okay. You know, I love the herbal degrees because I really believe the future is about botanicals. This pharmaceutical crap, I mean, someday the people are going to actually either string these guys up or they're going to hold them accountable and send them to jail. Because you can't keep producing radical chemicals like this and getting away with it. And that's what's happening. The FDA is letting them get away with that. And it's acceptable to have a kill ratio. It is not acceptable to me to have a kill ratio. Sorry. So yeah, sweetheart, take whatever you can. Herbal courses would be good. Someone was talking about common sense here, Eagle 99001. Yeah, I know. You know, half the world does not have common sense. And it's hard to explain what common sense is. But most of us, we think we have it. You know, some people just don't have common sense. They just don't put two and two together, or they just, for some reason, they're out of sync with their minds and their emotions and that of society or something. As a former nurse, I would love to help set up. I would like to get a clinic in UK. There is one planned there. It looks like this is going through. I'm not sure. I mean, everything looks good. If this is, and we get the first one on the ground, China has wanted the first one actually, but there's a lot of countries. I think it was 15 countries they have planned. They would really like to get into New Zealand as well. All of us around the world need to work at this level and help others to work at this level. I remember the Minister of Health of Indonesia had mentioned to a missionary friend of ours that because we helped her get the AIDS out of her little baby, what you can do with AIDS. This thing of people dying with AIDS is ridiculous. But we will be, when the world wakes up to this, we're going to need farmers. We're going to need fruit groves. I mean, we need to start thinking about how do we prepare our foods good for everybody. I mean, there's such a thing. I just wish a wave of consciousness would open up those, and we set up and we plan and we figure how to take this earth and make it so much better. We need a one world order, but not by the banking system. We need a one world order as a whole, ran by the most spiritually awakened people, to help allow the freedom and to map out and help the world come together and become one in a higher level of love and brotherhood. And how do we get ourselves healthy and get the food supplies up for everybody? Look at all the starving people. It's sad. Sad, sad, sad. This was one. I've got to go. I'll do this last one because it's on a subject of mine. Hello, what you said about cannabis, too much. Yeah, I mean, cannabis is a neurotoxin, no question about that. So the neurotoxins can take their toll on you. And in a while, they can shut down your adrenals. You get lower blood pressure, harder to breathe. So yes, if you're going to smoke cannabis, I'd say be a raw foodist for sure. But I can tell you that, for some, it's a good relaxant. I think bottom line is that no one has a right to make a plant illegal. If people choose to use a plant, that's up to them. That's God-given. So no government, no body of any authority should ever be able to suppress any use of a plant that grows, especially one that has so versatile as as hemp. But also, this should be tinctured. Use it as a tincture on the tongue as opposed to smoking. Smoking, of course, a lot of you have vaporizers and all that sort of thing, and all those are better, I guess. But for me, I love being high naturally. I love basking in the Supreme Being's arms, in the beauty of the allness. And I like the high I get from a medjool date, or drinking a banana strawberry smoothie. I love those kind of highs, and because there is no side effect, but just greater energy and greater awareness. So, but protect yourself when if you're smoking anything, you've got to protect yourself with that. I would actually work on my adrenals and kidneys more and my lymph more when I'm smoking something like that. There was an old Jamaican minister came in one day and said, well, we older guys in Jamaica make it into a tea. So I don't know, however one chooses that to deal with that plant. I don't, I like a natural buzz, thank you very much. But I love you all. Thank you so much. All your great comments. I will be back tomorrow, and I'll do a couple of hours here and catch up because I've got a lot to catch up with. And I hope you enjoy these videos. I mean, I hope that they're of good value to you. And we're always here to help you guys. So have fun and enjoy the rest of the day and this weekend. Chris probably won't have these tomorrow's videos up till the first of next week, but I hope he has this one up tomorrow. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye now.